All right, welcome everybody. For those of you who are watching me now or watching this on the replay, so I am going to be covering the topics as I stated in the title. It's going to be like a lecture format, and people are going to be trickling in and leaving me a comment, right? So let me pull it up here in my video uh, so I can see all the questions that's going to come about in my live feed today. I'll wait a little bit till I have a big audience, bigger audience, maybe 10 people, and then I'm going to be giving my lecture about these three topics that I stated in my title video: money by age, the golden rule, and my plan to get to $1 million in 5 years. I couldn't fit the 5 years because the title wasn't. There's like a limit. There's like a 60 character limit to the title, so that's all I could fit into it. But $1 million within 5 years, it's definitely possible for me. It crashed. Now we're back. That's the second time it's crashed, actually. That's weird. Maybe YouTube needs to work on its game a little bit with the live stuff. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's video on Halloween. Obviously, I'm not participating. I've never really participated in Halloween stuff, so I mean, it is what it is, I guess. And most people this year are not going to be participating in Halloween, so let me charge up my laptop real quick. Okay. How is everybody today? October 31st, Halloween. Ben, what's up? Mr. Ben Park. For those of you who are just joining in, Tyler Camp, good man. How's your day been? My day's been all right. Nothing too crazy. Just house sitting, pet sitting for the house, the guy that owns the house, the dog. And yeah, nothing too crazy. Did some research about companies, and that was really it. So when it gets to about 10 people, I'm going to be covering the three topics that's on the title. Your boy is ASF now. Island Blood. ASF? What is ASF? ASF. It's like ISF in the ship. I don't know what that is. No clue what that is. ISF? ISF Navy. Let's look at that. Master at Arms? Import Security Force? Hiram Biftum, welcome back. I just engaged in a literal smear campaign against Mitch McConnell concerning the bad candy he ate. If you check the Facebook page. Okay. Island Blood. Part-time MA. Daniel Fawkes. Hey Yoon, sending greetings from Ohio. I've been to Ohio once. Welcome, Mr. Daniel. Former HM2 here. I enjoy your channel. I wish I had financial smarts. Anybody can learn financial smarts. Anybody can learn. I'm not a smart guy at all, by no means. Like in high school, I didn't do too well academically. I went to college for like 2 years, like 2.5 years, still didn't get my associates, withdrawing from classes. failed algebra twice from the same teacher, Miss Sue. Yeah, not smart financially at all, or just academically, but I learned that I need to sit down and really study, and I became financially literate. Also came here because I'm young and dumb with money. Tyler Camp. All right, so I guess I'll start my first lecture. So I'm going to be talking about the first topic, which is money by age, which is fitting. Tyler saying he's young. So how old are you? I am 27. Right now I'm 27. I'll be turning 28 June. So I joined the Navy 21, and then I turned 22 first day of boot camp because I left June 2nd and my birthday is June 3rd. So yeah. So I'm about to start my first part of the lecture, money by age. And let me actually write this down because I'll probably download this video later and then cut it out so I can have it as a standalone piece of content. It's a pen. Okay. So as you have questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section down below. All right, 07 is when I'll start. Okay, so how much money should you have by each age? This is like a thing that I see a lot when I'm researching and I'm reading different articles. There's a bunch of different YouTube videos, like how much money should you have saved up by each age, or how much by each age is considered being 1%. So by technicalities, at 27, at 130,000, I am technically, by different articles, according to the articles, I am in the 1%. But I personally believe, like, to compare yourself, like how much money you should have by each age, like I don't believe in that. I don't think you should really care too much about that, or compare yourself to others about how much money they have by each age, because everybody comes from a different background, right? Where you come from, if you're thinking about joining the military and you join at maybe 18, 19, 20, or 21, or whatever age, where you join, where you are in life is going to be different from the next person that's joining the military, where they are in their life, right? They might have a child, they might be married, they might have financial responsibilities, they might be immigrant children, right? And they're raised by immigrant parents who are struggling, working a 9-to-5 job, and they join the military. And I've seen a lot of these individuals who come in and send money back home to support their parents, right? Everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different background. So don't compare yourself, how much money that I should have by this age, or, whatever. The reason why I'm boasting, right, not bragging, but boasting about $130,000 by age 27, or 5 years in the Navy, is because when I was thinking about joining the Navy, I wanted to know what was financially possible, right? How much financially, realistically, can I save while I'm in the military, right? Can I save my money to $100,000 while I'm in the military? How does that lifestyle look like? And I didn't know how that looked, and nobody had the video. Nobody accomplished it. I'm sure there's a lot of people who've accomplished it, and there are certainly a handful of people that I've met that have accomplished achieving 6 figures within their 5 years or 6 years. But nobody has really documented it from the start to where it's at now, like I have. So the thing that I really want to emphasize is, don't compare yourself with your age and the amount of money, right? Because who you are as a person, it's going to be different, right? How you think, like how I think, is going to be different from how you think, right? At the same time, right? How we were raised by our parents, right? My parents are not financially savvy at all, right? They're not. My dad, I love both of my parents, right? My mom is a very religious person, and my dad is a very anti-capitalistic person, right? He views people with a lot of money that in a way that they are evil, right? Oh, they got rich by, they stole the money, um they screwed other people over in business, and he views people with money as like they're evil people, right? And as I was growing up, I would see my dad, he would always play like the scratch off and the lottery, and it was always weird to me that like my dad would always complain about people who are rich and say that they're evil, but he's playing scratch offs and he's playing lottery that makes him rich. So it was confusing to me, and I didn't understand at the time why, but now I kind of understand that. When I was talking to my brother last week, it was in regards to the current purchase of buying a house. I was talking to him, and I was like, yeah, we're putting 25% down payment. It's going to be right about $105,000 of money that I need to make that down payment. Not all of it, right about $85,000 is going to go for the down payment. The other $20,000 is going to go into closing costs. But as I was talking to my brother, and he's like, hey, good for you. You have that money, but you're gambling in the stock market. And I was like, gambling? What do you mean by gambling in the stock market? And he's like, when you invest in the stock market, it's gambling, right? My brother, I love my parents and my brother, right? But he's not a financially literate person. Like I am financially somewhat literate because I've spent, hundreds of hours studying finances, studying businesses, studying investing. But my brother hasn't, right? He doesn't understand what it takes to achieve six figures, what it takes to achieve high net worth, right? And so, as a way of coping, right, as a coping mechanism, when my dad, right, he wanted to be financially rich and independent, right? That's why he was buying scratch off tickets, buying lottery tickets. But at the same time, he was pointing fingers and saying those rich people are bad people. They got rich because they lied, cheated, stole money, tax evasion, and all the stuff down the list. He would say that because it was a way for him to cope, right? So I want you to start looking at your life, right? What are you saying that is the opposite of people who have high levels of net worth? Like, oh, that person, he has a lot of money, he must be a bad person, right? That is a way for you to cope with your reality. Because you didn't study financially, you're coping by downplaying, by saying people are evil, by saying people are bad, and I don't want you guys to get to that point. And yeah, that's how important it is. Because if that's what you believe, right? Like, oh, if you're rich, you must be evil, you must have stole, lied, cheated, whatever, did some criminal activity to get to that net worth. If that's what you hardcore believe, then it's going to be very hard for you to get out of that mindset to get into a high level of net worth. um, and it's why I truly believe my parents are still struggling, because that's what they believe. And my brother, like he said, like, oh, you're investing in the stock market, you're gambling. But at the same time, it's funny because I've seen him, he puts money into a retirement account, right? And that retirement account, it's what to his definition, it's gambling, right? Because that retirement account, that money isn't just sitting there. It's that Vanguard company that he's putting money into is investing his money, right? So if he says stock market is gambling, why is he gambling? See, it makes you look funny, and at the end of the day, you don't want to look funny, right? So never compare yourself, right? How much money you should have by at a certain age. There's a lot of articles out there, right? But never compare yourself to it, right? So that's how much money you should have by each age. That's the first topic. So now I'm gonna go into the chat and cover some of the questions that was asked, and then I'm gonna get into the second topic of the golden rule, covering the golden rule again. Yeah, JG, that's why I made that spiel, and then I'm gonna later on download this, all the different topics, and then post it up separately, so you'll be able to see it coming up. Okay. Daniel Fox, Yoon, just curious, how old are you? 27? Daniel Fox, I was 22 when I joined the Navy and 27 after I got out. Yeah, it's exactly what I would have done had I got out last June. I would have been 27, 5 years, exactly the way you did it. Do you have a Roth IRA? So I used to have 1% in traditional and about 2 or 3% in Roth. And I did what's called a life cycle fund. I'm sure you know, but for other people's sake, life cycle 2050, I believe. But later on, I killed it to take that money and fund my investments back in April when the whole stock market went down. Then I kind of went in. Yeah, I have started one, but income limit prevents me from contributing to the Roth now. However, I was told that there is a way to continue contributing if you are above income. So I'm not too familiar or well-versed in that area, so I can't really say for sure. Fernando Sanchez, what's up, man? Drinking my coffee. Starbucks vanilla. So compared to like what people say about Starbucks, like, you know, like Graham Stephan is like completely against buying Starbucks coffee, right? He's like, oh, I'm gonna make my own Starbucks for 10 cents, which is perfectly fine. He can do that. But for me, I am all about Starbucks, right? And at the same time, I am an investor in Starbucks. Starbucks is a company that I got into not too long ago. I started tranching in. Tranching, right, is another word for basically dollar cost averaging. I dollar cost averaged up. So whenever you buy a stock, right, this is not a financial advice. I'm just sharing with you my personal investment strategy. Whenever I'm buying into a stock, buying into a position, right, let's say I want to build Starbucks to a $10,000 position of my own money. So basically what I will do, after I do my research, whatever price makes sense, right, I'm going to spend maybe $1,000 in my first tranche, right, my first initial buy. And then, you know, it'll go up a little bit, it'll go down a little bit. And if it still makes sense, if the price still makes sense, okay, if it goes up a little bit, maybe I'll add a little bit more. Maybe I'll put in another 1,000. And if it goes down heavily, like, you know, like it is right now in the stock market, it went down heavily, maybe it went down 10%. Now I kind of lost money from my initial $2,000 investment. Okay, at this price, I'm going to go a little bit heavier. I'm going to put in like $3,000. So my dollar cost average is good. And then the stock price keeps going up and up, and I'm going to slowly continue to add. So how I spend $10,000 when I'm building a position, right? I buy slowly over a long period of time. Okay, that's how I like to build my positions. Tyler Camp, how would you say is the best habits to develop self-discipline when it comes to spending? Basically, the cliche saying is live below your means, but, you know, what is below your means, right? People say it all. This is literally the cliche saying, like, oh, live below your means, live well below your means. Well, what is below your means, right? Or is below your means like, do you have such a high expectation of your life that you demand nothing but a decent car, a decent place to live in, a haircut every single week, and getting my eyebrows threaded. You have to really define what your living standards are, right? The way I kind of thought about myself for the last 5 years, and this is honest truth, like people who've associated themselves with me within those 5 years know, like, this is how I believe to be. Like, literally for the last 5 years, I truly believed I was homeless. Like, I was just scavenging off the street, not like actually scavenging. So I'm not literally picking through trash or anything like that, but I thought of myself as like a homeless person, a privileged homeless person, that I have a shelter, living in the ship, and every single day I'm able to buy food outside of the ship because the food inside the ship wasn't anything too appetizing. So I was able to buy stuff, but I didn't have a car. I didn't really go anywhere. I didn't party in my primal youth 20s, right? Didn't party, didn't hang out with friends, didn't, do anything crazy like you would do in your normal 20s, like the college years. Did none of that. Just completely shunned myself and just became like a hermit, and just basically studied finances, studied business, studied investing in money and all that kind of stuff. So the best habit is to basically believe that you are not deserving of anything, right? At least how I went by it. Like, I don't deserve a car. I don't deserve to wear good clothes, and I don't deserve anything, right? All I deserve is some decent food and a shelter and a place to stay. And so the best self-discipline when it comes to spending is to kind of make yourself believe that you don't deserve anything, which in turn makes you not buy any materialistic things. That's the biggest thing. You don't want to spend your money on materialistic things too much, and just save all your money and make sure you study up and discipline yourself in finance. Okay, Benjamin Park. You going to buy Cold War? I don't know if that's a game. What are your life plans? Are you still in the Navy? I am still in the Navy. I'm doing what's called my shore command. So I did my 5 years at sea, 3 years at shore. So that's what I'm doing right now. Are you in the Navy again? I am still in the Navy, but after my shore command, I'm done. I'm about to ship out to basic training in 23 days. Any tips or advice? Make sure you enjoy that process. And when you are in boot camp, one of the things that I did personally, they give you like a little journal, not this type of composition book, but like a Navy boot camp type of journal, and just every single day, right? Just write down like an entry, like, oh, today I did this. At night before you go to sleep, today I did this, and basically write out your day in the journal. And I still have that journal from way back then, and it's something that I still cherish even to today. So make sure that you have a journal, and yeah, just enjoy boot camp. Enjoy it. Most people in there are going to complain like, oh man, this sucks. But no, it's a good time, and try to have a high job, whether it's an RPOC, which is the leader of the boot camp division, your group, or Master at Arms or AROC, whatever job you can get, right? Get that job. You might be fired, but that's fine. Like, just get that job, and then if you get fired and you become a nothing again, just wait until the opportunity to get another job, right? Just get any type of job you can, and don't worry too much about what other people think. Like, people might laugh and talk behind your back like, oh my gosh, like that guy sucks. But don't, like, you're never gonna see these people again after your 2 months. So Benjamin Park, how do I have the best Army experience? Like not ruin it because some people are ruined because recruiter lied, they hate their jobs, or I don't know. In military experience overall, just focus on your job, like, and try to become the best at your job and make rank as fast as possible. If that means that you have to study and open your textbooks and instructions and read up on your instructions and whatever the case may be. One of my biggest regrets is not advancing quick enough. And so I don't want you to have that same, make that same mistake, Ben. So make sure that you take your military career very seriously and try to advance as quickly as possible. If I had played my cards right, I could have been a first class by now, an E6 instead of, I'm still an E5. But E5 is still good for my time. But any motivation and tips for me about Shibatsu? Just enjoy your experience. Save $1,000 each month. My golden rule. I'm about to cover that topic. So yeah. Cook Father 23. I'm about to be an LS. How is it? I enjoy being an LS. Out of all the different things that an LS does, we used to do postal stuff, but they gave that away. Then there's the surface side, there's the aviation side, and I'm more of the aviation type. So I really enjoy the aviation LS field. Do you have a girlfriend, and how does that work? I have a girlfriend, and she lives in Brazil, so we have a long distance relationship. No, you can still live with her as long as if you buy a house or whatever, and you'll be fine. Let's see. Esther J. Can you recommend a simple, easy read book for someone who's just getting into investing? The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason is very very good because it's not like a heavy investing book. Like a heavy investing book is something like this, right? Like this is by Charlie Munger, forward by Warren Buffett, right? Like this is heavy. Like this, when I read this, like it puts me to sleep. But this is pretty expensive actually. This is like $50. It's like a textbook. But yeah, like if you've ever read the Bible and when you read like Jesus talk, like he talks in parables, right? Like that's how this guy talks, and you have to really try to interpret it and decipher it. So something like this is pretty difficult, but just to getting into finance, like Robert Kiyosaki's Richest Man in Babylon, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, George S. Clason's, like I said, The Richest Man in Babylon. I haven't read any like of base like beginners books recently, so I can't really say. But the 4-Hour Work Week, right? I want you guys to stay away from that book. I personally don't agree with that. The title as it is, some of the things in there, you can agree with, but the 4-Hour Work Week is was Tim Ferriss, I think, is the guy who wrote that book. Tim Ferriss, when he was writing that book, 4-Hour Work Week, he did not work 4 hours a week to write that book and publish that book and market that book. He worked like 80 hours a week to launch that book. So it just doesn't make sense. Tyler Camp, Then You Can Live With Her. Okay. What do you do in your free time? Sometimes I'll play a game or two, but for the most part, my everyday is consumed with learning in finances and being in the Discord community, interacting with my Discord members. For those of you who aren't in my Discord community, right, I'm going to drop a link here. And the reason why I created this Discord community, right, is because I wish I had somebody to talk to about finances early on. Had I had somebody like me to talk to early on, instead of $130,000, I'm confidently saying I would have right about $300,000 to $400,000. And in my Discord community, the highest net worth guy he's at right about $300,000. The next person would be me, and then there's another person that's at 80,000, and another person that's at 60,000. And so being within a community and surrounding yourself with like-minded people who want to achieve financial freedom, financial independence, that's huge. That's something that I didn't have early on in my career, and I still don't. I kind of do have it now when I joined Jeremy from Financial Education's Discord community. But I had to pay $5,000 just to be with that group, and you guys aren't gonna spend $5,000 just to join that community, but I had to, because I'm trying to elevate myself and get to that next level, right? Tyler Camp, you study Navy things in your free time there. Don't be afraid of failure. Either the Navy appreciates the hard charters. Daniel Fawkes, you are so close to Washington, D.C. Do you explore and go to the museums that are free? I have gone to it before when I was in Norfolk. Don't make my mistake. I lived in Annapolis, Maryland. And I went to Annapolis not too long ago just to go to some Korean grocery stores. It's not worth it for me though. Just to go to a grocery store from where I am in Patuxent River to DC, probably 5 times in 5 years. You will, when I went to A school and first command with my boot camp. DWK videos, Donnie. You or Nikki, who's winning in a MMA match? If I had to seriously consider it, if Nikki and we were stuck in a room and it was a death match, I don't know Nikki's physique, but I mean, if I had to imagine, he's in the field a lot, so he'd probably beat me up. He'd probably beat me. I'm a paper guy, like I'm the paper boy, like I'm not much of a fighter. I'm not a fields guy. I'm just the office person. Ben, serious question. Do you go to bars or clubs? No. And why or why not? Just not interested. Too much money? No. Just this is not my scene. And happy Halloween. Good to see you being more active here on YouTube. Yeah, I'm not creating content too much, but live video I guess I could do. But yeah, majority of my time is spent on just like investing in the stock market and all that kind of stuff. What do you think about Yeoman? I enjoy Yeoman. I mean, I've had a couple of Yeoman friends, and Yeoman is a job that I would consider myself too, if I had to join. Bro, you don't have Benjamin Park banned? This creep, man, and I'm not exaggerating. 10+ accounts to stalk me. Not kidding, kids. Weird. Ben, you do ask a lot of questions. I don't think you're weird yet, at least. I don't know exactly what you did to Donnie, but yeah. Ben, I do remember you though. You were one of my criticizers early on, but now you converted into a believer in the Just Yoon 100K story. I signed 4 years for Yeoman. Good. How old were you when you joined the Navy? I was 21 June 2nd, and I turned 22 in June 3rd. So I was basically 22 when I joined the Navy. Can you summarize your major Navy timeline, like boot camp, then A school, then shore duty, for how long? Boot camp from June to end of July of 2015. and A school from August to mid-September, and then came to the USS Abraham Lincoln like September 24th, 2015, and I transferred out of the USS Abraham Lincoln 5 years later in August of 2020. So if you want a millionaire, leave the Navy and get a 200K job. It doesn't necessarily matter how much you make, in my personal belief. It's what you're able to do with that money. Like you can make $10,000 into $100,000 or into $1 million. You don't. More capital does help, but you don't necessarily need it. Do you want to deploy again? I wouldn't mind deploying again if I was to do my sea time again. If I don't get to the point of travel, you are going to visit different countries and spending money. You don't need to go there. Just Google it. There's a big difference between actually going there and experiencing it. DWK videos, good seeing you're active, man. I'm 100% serious about Ben, man. He's been stalking me for a year. Got a dip. See ya, Donnie. Advice for people joining in the military in the 30s. I know some people who join in their 30s. For some of them, it's just like a period of time, whether it's 4 years, 5 years, or 6 years, to try and find themselves, right? Try to figure out exactly what they're trying to do with their next 10 years of their decade of their life. So my best advice is spend that time when you are in the military, whatever branch you're serving. It's going to be a challenging experience, like as it was challenging for me. And I was able to really find who I was, right? So I want you to take it very insular, right? Take it very internal, right? There's a lot of people who join the military, go through the process, and they just become the most disgruntled person in the world, right? Just complaining and saying this sucks and all that kind of stuff. And they never think about what they are, right? It's hard for me to explain, but people join the military. I personally believe military amplifies who you are as a person, okay? So when you go into the military and you're expecting like a great experience and you're going to go through this challenge, and in the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, there's a quote, and I believe in this quote, and it says, when what is it? Life is 10% what happens and 90% how you react to it. Yeah, that's exactly the quote. So I want you to take that quote to heart, and I also want you to read that book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Life is 10% what happens and 90% how you react to it. So when you are in the military, right, there's going to be a lot of challenging things, and I want you to react to it in a way where you take every opportunity to grow as a person, right? And I can't imagine exactly how and what you're going through as, joining in as 30. But if you were here with me, in front of me, I would basically say like, hey, number one, save $1,000 each month. Number two, learn about finances. And number three, make sure you do what's called personal development. So listen to people like Jim Rohn, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, these individuals, especially Jim Rohn, Jimrohn, Jim Rohn. Also read some like Tony Robbins. Anthony Robbins is his actual name, but Tony Robbins is what he goes by. And just take the time while you are in the military. If that's a career path for you, then great. But if it's not, then make sure that you come out as a better person at the end of it. What's your current living situation? Are you on or off base? I'm off base. I'm renting a room right now for $600 a month. As you can see, my air mattress right here. Still living like a bum. Just asked him too much question. Ben, you just want to be more thoughtful with your questions, right? I understand, like, you have all these questions, but sometimes you just want to be more thoughtful with it. Can you join as a EMT if you're fresh out of school? They don't have EMTs. They have, depending on the branch. Like my brother, he's an actual EMT, right? He's not an actual. He drove the ambulances, but he joined the Army National Guard as a medic. And in the Navy, you'd be a corpsman, but you wouldn't be an EMT. There isn't like an ambulance in the Navy that I'm aware of. I'm sure there may be a vehicle such similar to that for that function, but not that I'm too aware of. Is there a hookup culture in the military? Yeah. Can you hook up during deployment? Or is it against, if you do it on the ship, it is against the UCMJ. There are people who are married and hook up, and sometimes they get caught and they get in trouble. Because if you're married, you can't be cheating. In the civilian world, that's like, they can do whatever they want. But in the military, by UCMJ, if you're married, let's say I'm married and there's a person that's not married, and I engaged in that act, I will get in trouble, and I believe that person will also get in trouble. And yeah, it's not really good. How'd you meet your girlfriend? Met her online, and we've been together for 3.5 years. I have a lot of vlogs about it with her, if you want to check that out. It's in my YouTube channel. What do you think about AAPL? You think it'll go up? Yeah, I think so. With the only thing is, I know Apple has a considerable amount of debt, but their Apple iPhone 5G Play should boost their phone sales. Right now, in my opinion, if I had some free cash, I would be building into FANG right now. So slowly tranching into FANG. Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Google, Amazon. Yeah. How do you save $1,000 a month? Do you only spend $500 on what you want? Ben, if you haven't seen my video about how I went, I have a whole detailed video about it. How I went from $200,000 to $130,000 within 5 years in the Navy. Highly recommend that you check that out. Yue, would you say there are more people of low character than high in the military? Yue, there are definitely a handful of people who are low character, like purposely low, like stealing, lying, cheating, deceiving. There are those individuals, right? But there's far more people who are in the middle, like the common ground, right? They don't know exactly what they need to do. And then there are people of high moral character. So I wouldn't say that there are more than high moral character or high quality people, I guess, from that video, from the controversial video. But there are definitely low character people, but it's a very small percentage. But they're the ones, in my opinion, that really ruin the military experience for people. There are a good small percentage of those low character, but mostly people are in the middle. They're just trying to figure out where they belong. And then there's definitely people who are, high character, leading the charge, and, motivating those around them. What are fun things you did during deployment? I didn't really do a lot of fun things. Whenever we went to a different country, I would use the Wi-Fi, download anime, different YouTube videos, and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of a peace of mind for me. And Skylar, Mr. Skylar here, what's up? Oh, my shirt, rocket scientist. Mrs. Skylar here and I used to hang out a lot and kind of eat Korean food and all that kind of stuff. So that was like our coping thing that we did for ourselves. Thank you for that info. You got it. David, what's up? Do you have any travel adventures planned? I know it's difficult during COVID. The only thing is I'll be going home to Pennsylvania soon to close out on my new home purchase. So other than Pennsylvania, no real place to go. What are things you can do when you joined the military when you can't go home? Like my parents are sick, and when I joined, I racked up about 12 misdemeanors during my teenage years. A majority of them were traffic violation, but I got 2 penalty theft under 50 and 2 paraphernalia charges worth enlisting. As long as you're not going to do that after you are in the military, I think you should join. It's worth joining to try and turn your life around, right? From taking yourself out of that environment. Certainly, like, been following you for a while. Happy for your success, man. Thank you. So the way I kind of look at it now, before I joined the military, right? I graduated high school 2012. I joined the Navy at 2015. I only had $200. My environment wasn't going to excel, wasn't a catalyst for me to become successful, right? The people around me did nothing when I was growing up in middle school and high school. My best friends at the time would always make fun of me, right? Or would always call me like, oh man, you have a big head, or you're stupid. And they would always put me down. And I didn't realize it at that time, but those are what contributed to my lack of success prior to joining the military, right? And after I joined the military, I put myself out of that situation. I disconnected myself with those individuals, and I focused on personal development, focusing on myself, making sure I go to the next higher level by educating myself through accelerator YouTube courses and surrounding myself with high level thinkers like I did with here, paying $5,000 to be in a Discord chat with Jeremy from Financial Education, right? That has contributed greatly to my success financially. So yeah, I think it's worth joining if you can. I don't know exactly because you have all these how much it restricts you, but if you can, I think. But you just don't want to continue what you have been doing for the last 5 years to continue that habit the next 5 years when you are in the military. Okay, as Jim Rohn says, don't let your last 5 years be your next 5 years. Do you feel like time flew since your day you joined the military? Do years go by fast? I personally don't think it went by fast. Right now that I'm in the zone. So in the beginning, right, I was trying to become, developing myself. And that was a long process. And being on the ship wasn't a very enjoyable process for me. And so it wasn't an enjoyable process, and so it went by really slow. Right now, time does feel like it's going by super fast for me because every day, I work, and then that's my girlfriend right there, Estella. I work, and then I come home, and then I'm very focused. I'm very focused with my business and stock market stuff. I just got sidetracked by her comments. Why do you want to deploy? Isn't it 12 hours? No, it's like 18 hours a work week. Do you spend time in the gym besides going to PT? Lately, no, but I've been slowly trying to work out and all that kind of stuff. When are you getting out? I'll be getting out August of 2023. My girlfriend is very entertaining. I passed out today after I ate my dinner. I just passed out on my chair. All right. So, about to go as the questions started to slow down. As the questions start to slow down, I'll be getting into my second point of the importance of the golden rule. How many side chicks can you have at once, and how you prevent them from finding out one another? You just have to be as stealthy as possible, unknown profiler. But morally, I want you to know that is unjust. You wait, you're gonna put a ring on it and marry your girlfriend? Of course. That is a nice question, because I've been asking for a long time. Just gotta wait for the right moment, right? All right, so gonna go into the importance of the golden rule. So in this live video, right, I'm covering 3 topics. How much money you should have by each age. Second one is the golden rule. And third is my plan to get to 1 million. I've already covered the money by age early on. And all those segments, I'm going to be cutting it out later. After I download this video, I'm going to be cutting those segments out and putting it up as individual videos, so you guys will be able to see it. So, as you guys have questions, write the questions right now. And as my lecture kind of goes on, and after I finish talking, I'll be revisiting the questions, and I'll be answering it. So, all right. So, as Ben was pointing to, right, let me actually write this down so I remember exactly where it's at. All right, so as Ben was asking about, how can you save $1,000 each month, my personal golden rule, my personal financial advice to anybody who joins, right, if they decide to take it, is to save $1,000 each month, right? I came in as E1, getting paid $1,400 after taxes every single month. And those of you who are joining now, if you are coming in as E1, you're going to be paid more than I got paid, because over time, the military gets a raise almost every single year, whether it's like 1%, 2%, 3%. So every year you get a little bit more. So I don't know exactly where it is at now. So I imagine maybe it's at 1,500, 1,550-ish after taxes. So my golden rule was save $1,000 each month, because I realized from very early on that if I just save $1,000 within a 5-year contract, I will be at least at a minimum getting out with $60,000, right? Oh my gosh. Mr. Fox, $20 donation. I need to figure out exactly how I can disable donations, actually. I appreciate the donation of $20, but I don't want to get money from you guys. I need to figure out, I was actually thinking about this earlier on today. I need to figure out how to disable the donation button, because my goal is for you guys to be financially independent when you join the military, right? I'm going to get mine, right? I'm going to achieve my financial independence. The $20 helps. The money that you guys give me helps, right? But I want you, what makes me more fulfilled is helping you guys. And certainly there's been a lot of people who I've been able to help, but if I give you money, will you promise to do something fun? The definition of fun for me is going to like Starbucks and buying some coffee and benefiting the company that I have invested in. But you know what? The $20, I might actually, there is a project that I was thinking about putting some money towards from Stan Lee. Stan Lee had this, it's like a little pin. You can actually Google it. Stan Lee's Unity pin or something like that. Stan Lee Unity pin. Hands of Respect. Yeah, it's called Hands of Respect. So Stan Lee, the creator of Marvel, right? And I know this because I'm a Disney investor. I'm invested heavily into Disney. Stan Lee had this for a long time, a little pin where it signalizes like unity amongst like people of color. And this was, you know, before 2020 and 2019. He's been saying this for a very long time. Dan, I will take that money that you have given me and I will be putting it into this project. And I'll be, in the future, I'll probably do a giveaway of the little pins. Actually, let me put that in the link here. So it's called Hands of Respect. So I'll be able to, I'll fund that project of me getting those pins, and then I'll make a little giveaway on the YouTube channel here. But yeah, I need to figure out how to disable that donation button so people don't donate. But I appreciate it. All right, so let me restart here. 58. I'll restart the video at 58. All right. So, the importance of the golden rule. The military, when you think about it, is all about discipline, right? You are disciplined to be on 15 minutes early, to be on time. You're disciplined to wake up at a certain time. You're disciplined to perform your job to a certain level, certain degree. It's a lot of disciplines that you are taught while you are in the military about how you should behave, how you should communicate, and how you perform and show your appearance as a person. But one thing that you're not taught in the military is financial discipline, right? They have a program here and there, but it's not very thorough at all. They have a general program, and depending on where you go, maybe a person will come in and speak to you. When I was in the USS Abraham Lincoln, we had a financial lady that would come to us and speak to us about finances here and there, but she wasn't she knew a thing or two, but she didn't really know a whole lot, right? From my experience, I was able to talk to her one-on-one a couple times. But when you are in the military, right, my personal golden rule is to save $1,000 each month, right? That's financial discipline you can actually practice while you are in the military, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be $1,000, right? It can be, $250, $500, $750, depending on your situation, right? Everybody, like I said, comes from a different background, right? Some people might have to support other human beings financially. So I don't know your situation, but it's definitely you have to start somewhere, right? Whether it's 250, 500, 750. My personal advice is $1,000 each month. It is a little bit aggressive, right? As I was an E1 making $1,400, I was figuring out how I can live off of $400. Living off of $400 basically means that I'm not going to have a car for the next 5 years. I'm not going to be paying crazy cell phone bills for the next 5 years, right? I talked it out with my parents and figured out a way so I can still be with them. And I didn't splurge. I didn't go out to the clubs. I didn't go party. I didn't go out to the bar. I was a designated driver a couple times, but never did I really go out to the bar, just go on a night of drinking or anything like that. Um, I was very, very financially disciplined. I was very focused on my ultimate goal of achieving financial independence, of achieving financial freedom. And the foundation to that is the discipline of the golden rule of saving $1,000 each month. It's extremely, extremely important that you maintain this financial discipline. When you are in the military, there's many different disciplines, right? But financial discipline is not something that you are taught, right? It is something that you have to figure out by yourself, right? And you can either do that by not listening to people like me and kind of trying to figure out by yourself, and 10, 20 years down the road, you're going to look back at your life and say, man, I should have been more financially responsible, or I should have listened to you back then. Or you can listen to me now, right, and set yourself up for the future, and agree with me that you should save to a certain amount every single month, preferably $1,000 each month. And so you want to build a routine, right? Building a routine of every single month, $1,000 each month. Every month you get paid 2 times bi-weekly, on the 1st and the 15th. So maybe $500 per paycheck, right? And I want you to start looking at your finance, right? Not on a weekly basis, not on a bi-weekly basis, but on a monthly basis, but preferably on a yearly basis. How much is something going to cost each year, right? That's one thing that most people don't think about. People think about, okay, this is going to cost me, $100 a month or $400 a month for the next couple of years, 3 years, right? But people don't really think about how much is this going to cost me within a year, within 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, okay? Because when you are in the military, you're only going to get paid a certain amount of money, okay? You're already preset. The Navy has a budget of how much they're going to pay you, right? Depending on if you get married or not, that's kind of the variable factor, but they already have an idea, right? You are going to get a set pay. The Navy has a pay chart, right, of exactly how much you're going to get paid by rank, by how many years you've been in, right? Or at the same time, exactly where you are. If you're in a more hazardous place, you might get a hazardous pay. If you're in a different country, you're going to get cost of living allowance over there. But every single year, there's going to be a certain amount of money, right? So within a 5-year contract, after taxes, right, I probably got paid, I would roughly say maybe $70,000 to $75,000 from the military, and so has everybody else, right? What's the difference? There's so many of my friends, my peers, that I've joined same time, same rank, but they have maybe $25 in their bank account, $75 in their bank account, or some of them are in debt, compared to me, where I'm in a completely different place, right? What's the difference? Everybody gets paid the same, but not everybody ends up the same. It's financial discipline, right? The golden rule, why that is so important, is because it gives you the financial habit of putting away $1,000 each month and looking at your finances on a yearly basis. Okay, I pay my car $400 each month. In a year, that's going to be $4,800, rounded up to $5,000 a year, right? In a year, this next year, 2021, I'm going to be paid right about $50,000 after taxes, right? $50,000 after taxes. My car payments is $408 every single month, right? So in a year, that's going to be round up $5,000. So After $50,000, so now it's $45,000, right? I want you to start calculating your finances on a yearly basis and not on a monthly basis, not on a weekly basis, not trying to figure out how you're going to get by in a week, but try and start looking at your finances on a bird's eye view, trying to start looking at your finances on a bigger picture of hey, how much am I going to make this year? What are my expenses going to be this year? Okay, I have to save $1,000 each month, and save $12,000 a year. That's the benefit of the golden rule, is to build that financial discipline. There's a saying that I personally go by, that I personally believe in. And I didn't really hear this anywhere. I kind of just developed it over time, is if I can manage $1,000 well 1,000 times, I'm going to have $1 million, right? If you can manage $1,000 well, that you're going to be paid every single month. You get $1,000, $1,004, $1,005, depending on your rank. I get paid now $4,000 every single month. If I can manage $1,000 well 1,000 times, I'm going to have $1 million. Okay, so I want you guys to start thinking in that way of, hey, how can I manage my money better? How can I make better investments? Maybe in the stock market, or maybe not the stock market, depending on if you're interested or not. Maybe having a YouTube channel is the way you need to go, or maybe having an investment account, as Andy is saying, a TSP account or IRA or whatever the case may be for you, is the way to go for you. But yeah, that's kind of how I want you to start looking at it. I know I'm a little bit of a scatterbrained whenever it comes to talking about stuff like that, but let me actually write down the time. 1:07. Okay, now going to the questions. Please don't disable, and thank you for the link. I would like one of those pins. Daniel, once I get those pins, I think when I looked at it, I think 2 pins is like $15 after shipping and handling. The more pins I order, I get more. But you'll for sure get one first, Daniel. If you guys haven't already, join my Discord community. Dan, if you can join my Discord community, right, and message me directly, that will greatly benefit me from finding you later on, instead of trying to do like a needle in the haystack and trying to communicate with you. All right. Do you max out your TSP or IRA, Andy? So I killed my TSP, and I don't have any investment, like retirement accounts or anything like that. So if I was to, right, let's say I wasn't much of an investor in the stock market, but I'm more focused on having a YouTube channel, right? I would probably try to max out my TSP. Right now, if you join the military, more specifically the Navy, you get what's called a blended retirement system, where you put in the max contribution. It's not max contribution, but when you put in 5% of your income into the retirement account, the TSP, right, the military is going to match up to 5%, right? You can do 10%, but the military is only going to match up to 5%. So you put in 5% and they're going to match 5%. It kind of doubles it. You can do it that way. That's the way I would have done it if I was in there. If I wasn't much of an investor in the stock market. I killed my TSP and I don't have like an IRA account because I personally feel I can do better with my money. And my track record has shown me that I can do better with my money compared to giving my money to somebody else to manage it for me. So what kind of civilian jobs are you interested in? Daniel Fox. If I was to get a job, let's say I got out of the military, if I was to get a job, if I can work for a mega cap company or a large cap company, meaning like large cap would be like Tesla, if I can work for Tesla, I'll work for Tesla, just because of my fun and enjoyment, my entertainment, to be a part of that company to grow. I'm not interested in just working for like H&R Block or like this company or that company. In the future, I'm going to be working for a company that I would personally find fulfillment and enjoyment out of, right? Being a part of, let's say Facebook, working in a building with Mark Zuckerberg, or Amazon. If you have seen Amazon's new headquarters, like that building is just like some crazy level building. Let me try to find it and post it up here. Amazon second HQ images. Yeah. Amazon second up. It's a limit. You guys are gonna have to Google it on yourself. Actually, I can't type it in there. Amazon. Yeah. If I was to get a job, I'd only be working for like massive companies that I personally like and align with, or if I can help that company grow, it's something that I'd be interested in. Do you have an emergency fund? No, I don't. I personally don't believe in emergency funds. So, for example, you hear whenever you read different articles or whenever you watch different videos, basically they say, "Oh, build up an emergency fund," right? Put $1,000 or 6 months of your expenses in an emergency fund. To me, I don't have money in my checking and savings account. I do now only because I'm buying a house. I need to raise of my own money about $85,000. So I'm converting a lot of my stocks into my checking and savings account right now. But if you've seen my video when I explained how I went from $200,000 to $130,000 within 5 years in the Navy, in that video I say that it was very common for me to only have $1 in my checking account and $1 in my savings account, right? And it's because I don't believe in building up an emergency fund. It just doesn't make sense to me, right? If I have $1,000 in my savings account just lying around, what good is that money, right? Basically, having $1,000 in a savings account, for me, right, this is not a financial advice. This is not something that you guys, just because Yoon said it, I should do it. No, it's whatever you guys believe to be, whatever you guys do your research and educate yourself on is what I want you guys to act on. But for me, savings account is another word for I'm putting money in there to spend it later on, right? Because what's the purpose of a savings account? It's not to have a high yield interest savings account, which some people do, but to me, if you have a high yield interest savings account, you're not really benefiting as much as you would if you just invested that money in the stock market and just went into a super safe company like Coca-Cola and they pay you 3% on your money instead of you decide to put $10,000 in your bank account, open up a high yield interest savings account, and they're going to only pay you 1% or maybe 1.5% of your money. It just doesn't make sense. So no, I don't have an emergency fund. So one thing though, some people are raised, right, to believe that credit cards are bad, right? Oh, you shouldn't have credit cards, and to certain people, it is definitely true, right? There's a lot of people who are financially irresponsible and they spend money on credit cards and don't pay it off. And so to those individuals, yeah, that having a credit card doesn't make sense. But as long as you can financially be disciplined and make sure that you're able to pay what you spend, you don't necessarily need an emergency fund. All you need is a stable job like it is from the military, right? Invest your money. So for me, right? I don't want to give you financial advice and you come back later and say like, oh, you messed me up. But for me, whenever there's any emergency, right? let's say this is actual cases. Like my relative needs $1,000, right? I'll either convert that money, sell some stocks, put it into my checking account and send that money, $1,000, or I'll just wait until my next paycheck, get that $1,000 and send it off. Or let's say I need to go home, right? There's many times when, I needed to fly home or when I needed to take a train home back to Pennsylvania. I'll swipe it on my credit card, and then when it comes time to get paid on the 1st and the 15th, I just pay off my credit card. Like, there wasn't any moment when I needed an emergency fund, right? I have credit cards. That's what it's for. I have a credit card that has a limit of $5,000, and I don't spend more than $5,000. And if I was to, if for whatever reason, if I needed that money, whatever amount of money, let's say I needed $10,000 cash, right? Somebody had a gun to my head and they said, "Hey, I need $10,000," and I was only able to say, "Oh, I only have $1 in my checking account." I'll sell some stocks, convert it, and then, pay it off that way. So yeah, I don't believe in an emergency fund. You think getting my CNA cert would make it easier to get in the Navy? No. As an officer, if you have not a cert, but if you have a degree, but yeah, if you have a degree, right, join as an officer if you can. If I had to go back in time and try to do this process again, I would very highly recommend myself joining as an officer. Because if I was to exactly play how I played my financial game in the military with the officer pay, right, I'd probably right now be at, $250,000 right now, realistically. Like, this is realistically, because officers get double the amount. I'm sure they have to some degree double the expenses, but from what I can see, I would confidently say I would at least a minimum $200,000. At a minimum $200,000. But then again, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have enough time here and there, but I think I would have overall enjoyed my experience a little bit more because I'm so prideful in my military experience, in my military career. Becoming an officer is something that I would have loved to achieve, but I don't think it's for me at this point in my life. Air Force matches up to 10%. My bad, it's 5%. Would you ever be a contractor? Yeah, I'd be a contractor. Like, I was actually thinking about it for here where I am. If I was to get out right now and get a job here, I'd get a $80,000 before taxes, $80,000 a year job before taxes. But after taxes, it's more like, $60,000. How long of a contract would you recommend? Of what? You can't really control that. Depending on your job is whatever length of contract you're given. So it could be 4 years. I think like yeoman, one of the guys was saying yeoman is 4 years. 5 years for some, like LS for me it's 5 years, or for some like nukes and some of the intelligence rates are like 6 years. And so, thoughts on CD ladders? CD ladders? Career development ladders? Is that what you're saying? What is CD ladder? Nerd wallet. CD ladder is a saving strategy to spread cash equivalently across multiple certificates of deposits to take advantage of higher rates. Oh. So I'm looking at this website, right, from NerdWallet. Andy, you can, if you want to look at it. So when I scroll down, right, and markets by Goldman Sachs and Barclays and Synchrony, they have like their yearly APR plan, APY, average percentage yearly return, right? It's like 0.65. It's not even 1%. It's 0.65%. It's 0.1. It's 0.3%, 0.6% for 1 year. For 5 years, it's 0.8%, 0.3% minimum balance. Like what these companies are doing, right? Which this is why you need to be financially literate on your own, right? To avoid relying on banks like this, right? Because when you give a bank, write this down. So basically, right, when you give a bank, let's say $10,000, and you enroll into a high yield interest savings account, high yield savings, right? And you decide, I personally recommend 6 years. Okay. So, and you decide to go with this 5 year, and they're going to give you 0.7%, not even 1%, but 0.7. This is hard to see. I wish I had a marker. I don't have a marker, but maybe on a white paper is better, actually. Yeah, let me do it on a white piece of paper. So let's say, oh shoot. So let's say you put $10,000. Is that better? Okay. You put $10,000 in 5 years. They're going to give you on a yearly basis APY 0.6%, right? Not even 1%, but 0.6%, right? Basically, that means, how much is that of $10,000? Is that $6? Six, yeah. No, they're going to give you $60 every year. So that basically means, right, they're going to give you $60 a year, and it's going to compound to next year, right? So next year, you're going to have $10,000 and $60. And you times that by 0.6. Then they're going to give you, $60.36. It's actually hard to see without markers, so I'm not going to even bother anymore. And my pen's dead. Oh, there we go. But basically what I'm trying to say is, my eye hurts. This package, right, high yield interest savings account, whatever, they're going to ask you to have a minimum deposit. Let's say you do $10,000. They're going to give you 0.7% of your money yearly basis on that balance, right? And it's going to grow, compound every single year. 0.7%, not even 1%, but 0.7%. Okay, that's the key word. What they're going to do with that $10,000 that you put into the high yield interest savings account, they're going to invest it, right? Whether it's giving it in a loan to a mortgage company or putting it into a stock market and buying a company like Coca-Cola, where they're going to give you, if you spend $10,000 on Coca-Cola right now, right? I think that's like $48 a share. Coca-Cola, the company is going to give you like 3.4% of your money on a yearly base just to hold their shares, compared to the bank who's going to give you 0.7%, right? Coca-Cola, the company, is going to give you almost 5 times that much within a year, 1 year of your $10,000 investment. Okay. Sure, you're taking on risk because the stock price of Coca-Cola could go up or down. But as long as you do your research, you understand what price is a good price for a company, right? You're not reliant on the bank. You're reliant on yourself. You educate yourself with finances. You're going to beat the banks. You're going to be better off than relying on a high yield interest savings account or like CD ladder like this. Yeah, I'm completely against putting money in the bank account. Times go by fast. It can also determine how long tech school is. Also consider if you want to go to a school, go to a school or not, and include try and deployment. Pyro network. So I'm 19 and E1. Right now, currently in A school, been following you for a while now. How should I start saving and earning money? Pyro, my golden rule, save $1,000 each month. And you have no excuse because I was 21 and I was E1 when I joined. And I was only getting paid after taxes $1,400 each month. I don't know exactly how much you get after taxes each month, but I imagine it's going to be right about 1,500, 1,600. How much should you put in TSP? I currently only have $3,600. You can do, you're in the blended retirement system, so you can at least, at a minimum, put 5% of your money, and the military is going to match that 5%. And so you put in 5%, the military gives you 5%, now it's 10%. So you can do that. So Pyro, first thing you need to do is join my Discord chat. Surround yourself with like-minded people. Second, you need to start educating yourself, watching a bunch of different YouTube videos, reading books and all that kind of stuff. And once you feel confident, right, in whatever field you study, start something, whether it's a YouTube channel like this and document your journey from the very beginning like I did, right? Whenever I say anything, it's exactly what I've done, right? I have videos from before I joined the military and while I was in the military, and every single month my YouTube channel gives me about $200 each month. On average, it's about $150, but depending on the season and the ads, it's about $200. Pyro, you could start a YouTube channel. Familiarize with growing a YouTube channel, growing a business, and go that way. And if you're interested in investing in the stock market, right, make sure you educate yourself in that field. Save up your money until then, right? Don't start investing now when you know nothing about investing in the stock market. That's the biggest mistake that people make, and that's how people lose money in the stock market. Like I said, in my story is I joined June of 2015 and I started investing in April of 2017. So almost 2 years later, exactly about 22 months later, is when I started investing in the stock market. I didn't know anything about investing, right? It took me 22 months of building up that confidence, building up that educational level, and understanding it to a basic degree where I said, okay, I can, start investing. Now I'm at a point, 5 years later, where I've educated myself so much, and I'm constantly educating myself so much that, I can be very aggressive and have almost 99% of my net worth in the stock market, and I'll be fine. I feel like CD ladder is for people who have a lot of money that they don't need, because you can have different years CD, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The bad thing is you can't take it out without penalty. Yeah, the banks are going to win either way. The banks are going to win either way. When you give the money, right, they're going to invest it out, and they're going to make even more money and give you a little bit of it back. Or if you decide to take it out, then they're going to penalize you for taking it out, and they're going to make money. Adding my charger to my phone here. All right, going on. Do you have any dream vehicle or trip? Dream vehicle right now would probably be getting a Tesla Model S, which I probably wouldn't do unless I have $1 million. So maybe in 5 years, if I do have $1 million, I'll get a Tesla for myself. I know you want to be a Deca millionaire, or trip that you want. I always try to go back to Brazil like next year if I can. If the whole coronavirus thing is died down, I'd probably go back to Brazil and hang out with my girlfriend. Ariel Man, I don't have many plans on investing besides in myself and business. After I am done with the military, I want to own my own gym. Perfectly fine. Not investing in the stock market is not for everybody. Not everybody's interested in investing in the stock market. That's what TSP, that's what IRAs, that's what Vanguards and all that kind of stuff is for. I personally believe you should educate yourself to a certain degree of, maybe not investing in growth, but maybe in dividend companies, maybe putting some money into, companies that make you dividend income. But not everybody has to be successful in the stock market. You can like Ariel, I don't know if I'm saying your name right, but you can own a gym and that's perfectly fine. Yeah, I want to give people their health back, give them freedom. Yeah, if I'm around, I'd go to that. I would go to your gym if you had a gym and it was like close by. I'd go. What do you use? What do you use to trade crypto? I have been around for a good platform. For crypto, I use Coinbase. Pro.coinbase.com is what I use. Agreed. Tomato, same thing, brother. How do you plan on using your VA loan? I can't get a VA loan. And I don't think I'm gonna use my VA loan either. Maybe when I get out, when I go back to Pennsylvania and get my another second property, I'll use a VA loan for that. But yeah. So going into the final section. So for those of you who have been with me for a while now, today I've been covering 3 topics, right? Giving in a lecture format. Money by age, the golden rule, and the third one is my plan to get to $1 million. So I'm going to be taking those segments out and then posting it out in a video later on because it's all within this video. I've just been giving a lecture. So I'm going to go into the third one of sharing with you my plan to get to $1 million within the next 5 years. So if you have a question, right, you can still comment right now. And after I finish my lecture, which is going to be about a couple of minutes, I'm going to be answering those questions. And then I'll probably be closing it out for the day after that, after I get through all the questions, right? So making sure I write down the time here. 134.30. Okay, so my plan to get to $1 million within 5 years. So I am currently in the process of purchasing a house, right? So in June, I had $130,000. I spent $5,000 to join Jeremy from Financial Education's course. And I spent another $5,000 on a down payment for my car. And I spent a couple of thousands when I went back home for vacation. And now I have maybe like $120,000 right now, high as $120,000. And I need to provide in total about $105,000 for a down payment for the house. $30,000 of that is going to come from my parents, so I need to put up $75,000. And right now, I have $60,000 in cash, not physical cash, but in my checking account. So I need to, what is that? Raise another. Did I do that right? I forgot exact. What is that? 105. $30,000 comes from my. I just heard a noise. 105,000. 30,000 comes from my parents, so that's 75. And then $15,000 is already paid because I already put in a deposit for it. So that's 60. No, I'm getting tired. I'm confusing my math here. Let me actually write this down. I gotta redo that segment. So 105, 30 comes from my parents. I already put $15,000 down, so that's 45. That's 60 left. I think I have 50 in cash. Or I think no, I have 55 in cash. And then I have $5,000 left. Okay. So I'm in the process. I gotta cut that bit out. I'm in the process of purchasing a house. I need to put up $105,000, and my parents are going to provide $30,000, so it leaves me with $75,000, and I already paid $15,000 for a advanced security deposit, kind of. So that's $60,000, and right now I have about $55,000 in cash, and so I have remaining $5,000 that I need to figure out by selling some of my assets. My biggest holding right now is Facebook. I have 130 shares. Second is Starbucks. I have about 100 shares. And Disney right now, I have been killing Disney shares for the past few weeks, and I only have a couple Disney shares now, maybe like 30 Disney shares. I forgot exactly, but I need to scrounge up another $5,000. So at the end of it, right, I'm going to be only left with right about $45,000 by the end of December, right? So I need to build back up to $100,000 because 70 of that is going to go into my house. And so what's my plan for the next 5 years to get to the $1 million? So for the last 3 years of my investment journey, what I've been investing in is mega cap and large cap companies, right? Large cap companies is, I think, like $10 billion and above, and mega cap is $200 billion and above, right? And those companies, depending on the year, will give you 10 to 20% return. If you invest in the right companies, it might even 2x your money, right? Double your money. And that's really been my philosophy for the last 3 years, to invest in those mega cap, large cap companies and hide my money that way. But for the next 5 years, what I'm planning to do is to invest in small cap and mid cap companies, $10 billion and below, right? Because those companies that I see a lot of potential in. So, for example, some of the companies that I'm looking at right now is Palantir, Lemonade, Dropbox, and all those small mid cap size companies and below, or Chewy right now that's kind of considered a large cap, but I would say Chewy's kind of a brand new company. They're starting out. Their valuation is a little bit high, but companies like that have the potential to really 5x, 10x my money within the next 5 to 10 years, right? Because those companies are growing, right? If you see Tesla stock, right? Tesla, the company, if you see 10 years ago, they were very low. The price of that stock was very low. And, it wasn't until recently that it just, shot up to the roof. And so what I'm looking for are those type of companies very early on that I'm going to be investing into for the future growth of, within the next 5 to 10 years, something that will, drastically grow and become a 5x my money, 10x my money type of companies, right? So my investment philosophy, right, is going to be invest in companies that are and will become dominant within the next 5 to 10 years. It's hard to tell which companies will still be around, even after the 5 year mark, because technology is changing so much. Because, 10 years ago, the big dominant companies were the oil companies, right? The Chevrons, the Exxons, the Royal Dutch Shells. Like, these companies at one point were the number one in market cap in the stock market. Now they're becoming more and more irrelevant, right? Their market cap's actually shrinking now, whereas big tech companies are rising, right? If you see the banks right now, if you Google bank stocks, right, Bank of America stocks or Wells Fargo stock or J.P. Morgan, Charles Schwab, Goldman Sachs companies, right? Those banking company stocks are actually going down, right? And where's that money going? Because when the stock price goes down, that money just doesn't disappear. It goes to somewhere else. It's going to fintech companies, financial technology companies such as Square, such as PayPal. If you Google it right now, financial banking companies are going down, whereas fintech companies are actually going up, right? That's exactly what I'm trying to look for, exactly what I'm trying to invest into companies that are going to be growing for the next 5 to 10 years. That's going to 5x to 10x my money, right? And so that is my investment philosophy, and that is what I'm trying to invest in. And my current strategy is to make sure, right, to 5 to 10x my money, targeting middle to small cap companies with upside potential, focusing on the CEO and the business model, right? Because that's important. And the distribution of my money is mostly going to be 50-50. 50% of my money is going to go into the mid cap size companies and below, and 50% of my money is going to go into large cap companies and mega cap companies, because my expertise right now is in large cap and mega cap companies. I'm still learning to make sure I understand what to look for in mid cap companies and below, because that's not my current field of expertise. So that's something that I have to learn. And also, crypto is a field that I'm looking into right now, cryptocurrency. And I still need to do a whole lot of research and a whole lot of learning. Um, I have a friend right now. He's worth right about $300,000 in the crypto world. He's worth right about $300,000, and I'm learning a lot from him. And he's kind of indirect. It's kind of mentoring me into, hey, these are the ones that you should be looking at. These are the projects that you should be looking at. These are the verbiages that you need to know. And so I'm surrounding myself with, as much as possible with the right people and making sure I consume the right information. And I do feel very confident with that strategy, right? With that strategy and maintaining my golden rule and my platinum rule of saving money and using that money to invest. I do feel very confident with my level of knowledge right now. I can confidently say that I will have $1 million. I don't know exactly when, because it's all about market timing and all that kind of stuff. But definitely within 10 years, I'll be able to achieve millionaire status. My goal is to achieve it in 5 years. But if I can, within 10 years, I'm really looking towards $2 to $3 million net worth. And, I hope to achieve becoming a DECA millionaire within 20 years, 25 years. And I really need to continue to learn and, level up my level of knowledge, because knowledge is what reduces the time, right? Because if you don't have financial knowledge, for example, learning how to invest, the only thing you can do is to save money, right? If you don't have financial knowledge on investing, the only thing you can do is to save money. And if you want to become a millionaire just by saving, it's going to be almost impossible within a lifetime. So to reduce the time, to curb the time, the only thing that I can do, the only thing that I can control is my financial knowledge, right? Knowing what to look for, understanding what a company is, understanding that Tesla isn't just a electric car company. Tesla is actually a lot bigger than that. Tesla is like 4 companies from my research in one, right? Is the electric car that everybody knows, but it's also the battery, the lithium ion battery. Tesla is way ahead in terms of the lithium ion battery technology compared to any other companies out there. And there's the autonomous driving, that there's a lot of electric vehicles coming out, but they don't have the autonomous driving, right? Autonomous driving technology. They don't have the data like Tesla does, right? And the fourth one that's coming for Tesla within the next probably 10 years is when we'll see it really roll out, is autonomous taxi network, where you have an app, you have your phone, and instead of an Uber is going to eventually lose to Tesla, in my opinion, from what I can see, because of Tesla, because they have the autonomous driving electric car with a lithium ion battery, and they have the technology to drive by itself. All you have to do is pull out your phone, get into the Tesla app, and basically request a ride, a taxi ride, and it's going to make Uber obsolete. And so Tesla, from what I can see, is 4 companies in one. So doing a lot of research like that, understanding a company at a higher level, is going to help me and assist me into making those investment decisions. And so, yeah, that is it. So that's what? 14.6.3. Okay, so I'm going to answer some of the questions here and then close it out for the night. It's getting late for me, and I've been neglecting my girlfriend for a while, so. Let's see. How do you buy stock? I've been using TD Ameritrade in the past. I use Merrill Edge, which is connected to Bank of America. When people ask me like, hey, what investment platform I should use, I personally recommend whatever investment platform gives you additional information to help you make a better informed, educated investing decision, right? So Merrill Edge, for example, has 3 research tools. Actually, they just rolled out another one, so kind of 4, but 3 research tools. One is Bank of America, right? Bank of America gives their analysis on the industry, on the sector. Number 2 is Morningstar. Morningstar, you type in the company, for example, Facebook, Morningstar. It's like an article, couple of different like news, and Morningstar will give their opinion on the company. And the last one is CNA. I think it's the company called CNA, not what Andy was talking about with savings accounts, but CNA, the investment research company, where they also give financial information, like how much money they have, what's their debt balance, and all that kind of stuff. So whatever company is going to help you and give you the additional information, the additional research tool to help you make a better informed, educated investment decision, is personally what I recommend. I am trying to decide if I really need 3 degrees: dietetics, business, and not decided, but physical performance. If that's what you believe, is what you can do. 5,000 course is expensive. It is. I am not fond of the courses. Was the course from Jeremy worth it? Yeah, it was worth it. Now, everybody's going to have a different interpretation of when they go through the course, right? And I went through the course once, and there's nothing new that I haven't learned before from other courses, other people, other free content that you could get on YouTube, right? But sometimes, depending on the person, right, the way Gary Vaynerchuk might explain something to you is going to be different from how Jeremy from Financial Education is going to explain the same thing to you, right? Or I might explain the same thing to you, right? Everybody learns a certain way. Everybody learns from a different angle. It's got to be in a certain context that certain people from certain experiences are able to provide. And it's good because I was able to, strengthen my beliefs already. And within it, there was one lesson. There was one lesson that it seems very minuscule, right? And the lesson is basically, Jeremy says, get out of dying industries, right? For example, I had oil companies, right? When I was giving that example, I had oil companies, I had Chevron stocks, I had Royal Dutch Shell, I had, all these. And I got out of it because it was going down. And this was before Jeremy's course. And now, after I took Jeremy's course, it makes sense, right? And also, I had a big stake in Bank of America, BAC shares. I had about $10,000 in Bank of America shares. And, banks have been going down this year. They've been getting slaughtered this year. And fintech has been going up heavily this year, right? Had I taken Jeremy's course and understood what he was saying was get out of sectors that are industries that are reducing, right? And get into industries that are disruptive, that are growing, right? Electric car technology, right? Electric car space, it's growing, right? Elon Musk, Tesla, they're the originators, basically kind of the originators in that. And if you follow Jeremy from Financial Education, you know that he's invested a good small portion of his money back in 2019 into that company, and he's able to reap the benefits from that. And it's because if you see the companies that he's investing into, right, if you watch his videos where he reviews his portfolio, if you see the investments that he's making investments into the companies that are going to grow within the next 5 to 10 years, the industries that are going to grow within the next 5 to 10 years. He does have some that's just purely for value play. For example, he has Cake, which is Cheesecake Factory. The stock was undervalued. He bought it. He's able to sell it if he chooses to for a higher price now because the price of that stock has recovered. But for the most part, the companies that he invests into are growing industries, is what you can see. And that's what made sense to me. So it is worth it. I haven't immediately got my money's worth, but from that one lesson, from his whole course that I learned, I am very confident that I'm able to make that $5,000 back and more in the future. Are you going to rent out your properties or sell them? I'm not much of a real estate person as of right now, so I don't have any plans to do any of that. Once you have more wealth, how are you going to allocate it? Probably I will have houses that I will be living in, just one house, and maybe another house in Brazil when I marry my girlfriend, and we'll have a house in Brazil and house in Pennsylvania. But my biggest thing is when I ultimately achieve becoming a deca millionaire, right, having $10 million, by that time, maybe I'll be 65 by then, I'm going to be focusing on dividend companies that are going to be paying dividend income, right? So if I can average out $10 million for 3% dividend, that's $300,000, and I'll be perfectly fine living with $300,000 coming in every single month. Just confirmed, few banks are going down stock prices, but so is PayPal and Square. Yeah, only because of the market sell-off right now. Right now there's a market sell-off. Are you going to start enough to be I think you are smart enough to be a billionaire? Not at all. If I'm lucky, if I'm extremely lucky, maybe. Like right now, my knowledge level, I'm smart enough to be, a couple $100,000, but I'm not smart enough now to be at a millionaire level, but I'm getting there. Knowledge also saves money from big mistakes. Correct. Our biggest strength as human is to learn from others' mistakes. That is absolutely right. When I was when I took Ty Lopez's course, the accelerator course, when he was first coming out with like Here in My Garage, in his course, he has like a video where he says you want to learn from Martin Seligman or Sigmund Freud, I think. I forgot exactly which person it was. It was either Martin Seligman, or I think it's Sigmund Freud. And it was basically in that book, he said, we want to learn, humans are like learning machines or timing machines where you want to learn from other people's mistakes. And that really resonated with me when I learned that. And yeah, that's why you want to read books and learn from other people. It's because you don't want to repeat their mistakes, like Ariel is saying. Actually, an amazing point on the Tesla autonomous driving. Yeah. Autonomous taxi network isn't something that's being rolled out right now, but it's certainly in the development in works within the next 10 years. As always, thanks for your time. You got it, Andy. Smart enough. EV stocks are good long-term hold right now. Yeah. What ASFC do you recommend? Air Security Force or Cyber Job? I want to grow as a person. I feel like a lot, but I feel like I like a lot, but Cyber Job will help secure better pay when I leave after 4 years. I mean, I honestly don't know because I'm not too familiar with that field. But if I'm strictly looking at it from a investor standpoint of what industry is going to grow, I think Cyber Job is going to be better. But if you're more of like a hands-on guy, then maybe Security Force. But if you're looking from a financial standpoint, a opportunity, like a job opportunity in the future, then probably cyber is probably the way to go. Daniel Folks, do you discuss politics on your channel? Not too much. I'm not much of a political person. I would be interested in your views on current presidential election. If I had to say, I'm not. I don't particularly like any of the candidates. President Trump is basically President Nixon of our time, right? There's going to be a lot of cool, fun movies that's going to come out. Oh, we're back. There's going to be a lot of cool, fun movies that come out like 5 years from now, like all the scandals. Like it's going to be interesting to see. Like there's going to be legitimate zombie movies, like political, movies that's going to come out about President Trump's presidency within the next 5 to 10 years. Those movies are going to be pretty interesting to watch. But yeah, I don't really have like any stance. I'm not much of a political person. Except for cyber, it's up to you on what you want more passionate about. Cyber Job, I would just do research and more look into it. Sorry, bad English. I feel like I need to grow a lot. We all need to grow. I got an 81 on the ASVAB. Well, I got a 65 on my ASVAB. I would recommend cyber. SF Airmen seems to hate their job, hate their lives, lol. You can get some decent skills as a cyber airman if you want it. I would be interested in joining the Space Force if I could. Man, Space Force seems like the way to go. Is that what it is? Cyber airman? Is that what you guys are talking about? I would go cyber, better work life, and you get paid more in the civilian world. Is that in the Space Force? That's a real question. But yeah, guys, I get enough space work in Among Us. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. I'm about to close it out here for the night. It's 10 o'clock. I'm talking about Air Force Airmen, RAF Spacemen, and Space Force, I guess. Lol. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. If you want to continue this hangout, right, you can feel free to communicate with me on my Discord chat. It's free to join. Highly recommend it. Just being within a community of like-minded people is super important. It's something that I wish I had access to very early on. You can talk to me. You can talk to other people who are just as financially successful as I am and learn from them. Like I said, it's such a valuable tool. The community that I'm trying to create in my Discord, it's something that I wish I had. I didn't have it, and because of that, I made so much financial mistakes early on, where I would be in a much different place now. But I'm not gonna get into it now. But yeah, thanks for watching. Join my Discord if you so choose to, and see you tomorrow, guys, or whenever I decide, or whenever you guys join me.